Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we'll be doing some gameplay from Scenario 4 of the game Saipan 1944. This is from Avalanche Press and is part of the Panzer Grenadier series. This particular entry was designed by Jay Townsend. I did a setup video. I will throw a card up so that you can check that out if you're interested in seeing the setup for this particular scenario, because we're going to get right down to business here. So the first thing we're going to do is roll for initiative. Each side gets one die. I will use green for the US, red for the Japanese. Both sides' initiative value is 3. We add that to their die roll. Casualties will lower that number. So at some point, they won't both get the same DRM, most likely, but let's see what we get here. Okay, 6-5, so that's an advantage of 1 for the Americans. And typically what you do is you would divide the difference. You subtract the 5 from the 6, it's a 1, of course. Divide it in half, and that's the number of activations that the Americans would get before the Japanese can go. In this case, the spread is literally 1. So you have it and round it up, it's 1, right? So the Americans do get to go first. They get to activate a unit or multiple units, depending. Okay, so activation's real simple. If you have, anybody can self-activate, okay? So like he could activate by themselves. If you have a leader, the leader can activate his stack and the 6 around him as long as he's not disrupted or broken, because then he would not be able to disrupted. He can only activate his own hex, and broken, he can't activate anybody. But like I said, so the colonel here could activate this machine gun as well as his own stack because they're adjacent. And if the captain was in the hex next to him, they could chain activate. So I elected to spread the Americans out, and the Japanese only have a couple leaders anyway, so they're not adjacent to each other either. So basically what this all boils down to is, because the Americans are the defenders, I'm going to actually pass, and the Japanese will get to activate. We do have this guy here, right? And he is adjacent to this armored unit. So I think he can't activate him because armor units need a tank leader. So they would have to activate on their own. We're going to activate this tank, and we're going to just move it down the road here. Now, its movement there is, as you can see, it's an 8. It's right there in the corner. Now he's on a road. So here's the terrain effects chart. And a road for mechanized is 2/3 per hex, right? Now there are plenty of other terrain types on here, mostly jungle, but some other things as well. Beach is right here. Tanks don't do well on the beach. There are 3. So anyway, he can move 3 hexes for 2 points. But we may not want to move too much, although I guess we will, because we want to get down close to the beach and start fighting with the Americans, obviously, right? So he's going to go, that would be 1. Right? If he started here, 1, 2, and that looks like that's a road, so maybe he'd go here. So that would cost him 2 movement points. Then if he moves here, he's now in line of sight of this tank. So we would then be able to do opportunity fire. Okay, so let's look at our LVT here. This is LVT A1. These numbers down here are its AT fire ratings, I guess. Range is 6, firepower is 2. Now, American armor units in this game have efficiency, and we'll talk about that when it comes up, which really isn't right now. But I actually don't think he can see him because of the jungle here. So the jungle does, well, it says see notes. So see notes right there at the bottom. Jungle. There's a lot of notes. Jungle. Blocks line of sight. Okay. Right there. So he can't actually see him. But if he moved here, he would be able to see him. But he's going to actually stop right there, and I'm going to put a moved on him because he can then fire on the Marines right here. So he's moved. Now we would go over to the Americans. Infantry. We got a lot of infantry here. Let's move this guy up. We're going to move him here. We'll put a moved on him. You can't move and fire. And I don't think they can opportunity fire because they moved. Yes, the rules say that they have to be eligible for activation, which they are not because they already did activate. So now we go back to the Japanese. So we're just going to start moving people up here. Now, this is a leg unit. We're in jungle here. That costs 2 to move. So he's just going to move here rather than cross the line there and go uphill. And then he's going to get marked moved. Now this guy is going to move up as well and also get marked move. These are self-activations. Whoops. Yeah, because the Americans will pass. I'm just going to have the Americans pass. The Japanese, well, we're back to the Americans, and maybe we should actually move up. Yeah, we're going to move here. That way they can attack them next turn. Then the Japanese will move, and we're going to send this guy here. Again, we're moving into jungle. Movement factor is only 3. So basically everybody can only really move 1 hex at a time. And I'm using the markers. I bought the so-called Anarchy edition of this game, which means it comes with no rules, no charts, and no markers. So all the charts and markers you're seeing are actually from Fire on the Steppe. Fire in the Steppe, sorry. And yeah, so you're going to see like German tanks and Soviet tanks on the moved markers. But it is what it is, right? So that was the Japanese. Now we go back to the Americans. The colonel says, you know what? Let's move up. I'm going to move here. And he can activate this guy as well. And they're going to move here. And we're going to put moved markers on them. Then we'll go back to the Japanese. That guy is going to, I think, stay where he is for now. The idea was that they would be activated together since he has a lieutenant here. Now, this guy, the captain here, he will move here. Let's move this tank. They can move 7. 1, 2, 3. That costs 2. 1, 2. And then if we go here in the field, okay, fields cost 3. So he's basically at 2 and 2/3. So we're going to move him here, and that'll be 5 and 2/3. And he's going to stop there. I'm going to put a marker on him. Now he will be in a position to fire at these guys, which is what I was trying to do. So we have a tank down here and a tank up there, kind of split them a little bit. They only have 2 tanks as well. So, okay, so back to the Japanese. They, I think, well, maybe we should move this tank up. Now, tanks don't have a great time in the jungle. They can only move, well, he has an 8 movement, so he can move 2 hexes through jungle. That would be 1. And then this, I don't know if that's actually, it's not heavy. Oh, okay, wait a minute. I can't do that. I screwed up in setting this guy up, I think, because he can't move through heavy jungle. So I'm going to call an audible here and just move him over here because they need roads, I guess, to get where they're going to. They can move through light jungle. So he's going to go here and then here. And then he's going to go here, and that's where he'll stop. Now I think everybody else is going to pass, and we're going to advance our turn marker to 12:15 and roll for initiative again. Tie. So we roll again. Okay, so the Americans again win, and they have 2, which again will mean they get 1 activation before the Japanese get to activate. So just a regular back and forth. So the first thing we're going to do is this tank right here. Oh, I need to clean the markers off. Let me do that off camera. All right, we are going to activate our tank, right? All tanks have tank leaders on both sides. The Americans have tank efficiency. So what does that mean? Or armor efficiency? Basically, it means they get to attack twice. Now, they don't have a great rating here of it being only a 2, but that's going to be good enough here. The armor on both of these, they're thin-skinned. Armor rating for the Chi, I mean, actually these are 95s, not Chi-Has, but their armor rating is a whopping 1. So we will get to see how armor anti-tank fire. Okay, so here's the anti-tank fire table. So we roll 2 dice, add the attacker's anti-tank fire value, subtract the target's armor value, add any modifiers, trucks and jeeps, yeah. So 9 or less is no effect. 10 to 12, target loses a step. If it survives, it must make an M2 morale check. We'll talk about that. 13 or more is eliminated. So basically, the benefit to the Americans here is this. This guy is already reduced. That was part of the setup video, which if you did not watch it, shame on you. No, just kidding. So it's 2 minus 1. And then we roll 2 dice and see what we get. So I'm going to roll my 2 green dice. We got a 7 plus 1 is 8. That means no effect. Now, we're going to fire again because we can. So we know again it's 2 minus 1, which means it's a 1, and we add that to what our die roll is. And we got an 8, which is a 9, which is still nothing. So, unfortunately, he's now done for the turn, and the Japanese now get a shot. Now they are 1, and his armor is 1, so they're just rolling a straight die. So they need a 10 to even reduce the LPT. And they got a 7. Now they only get to roll once, so they are just simply done. Now we go back to the Americans. Okay, one quick note. I have this infantry adjacent. Infantry can assault armor, but you need a leader in the hex and have to start adjacent. So I could activate the captain here with his platoon of Marines, and I'm going to, and I'm just going to move them here. But if they had started there, this is heavy jungle, so they can't move another hex anyway. Their movement allowance is basically used up. It's 2, and I guess actually they could have moved in there. But they can't do it because you have to start adjacent to do an assault. So they have moved into position to assault on the next turn. But the downside to that is actually I'm not going to do that because I want to do it here. So these guys are going, nope, they can't assault either, but we'll do a fire attack. So we're just going to do a direct fire, which is right here. You've got 4 different kinds of attacks that you can do: direct, bombardment, anti-tank, and assault. So here's direct fire. So this is pretty straightforward. You basically look at the column for the strength, and you roll your 2 dice, and then you just cross-reference. So it's pretty straightforward. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward. The American firepower is 8. Okay, so that's your starting number. Then you go through all the modifiers, right? So they are in jungle, so they're going to get a -2 for that. Although the terrain chart says -1. Yeah, so this says 2. Heavy jungle is -2. Yeah, so I think this should be heavy woods or heavy jungle. Jungle is just -1 according to the terrain effects chart, so that's what I'm going to go with. So it's 8 -1, which becomes 7, but then they get a +2 for adjacent to all firing units. So we are in the 9 column, which is going to be the 7 column. So all of that really meant nothing because we didn't go below 7. So we're in the 7 column. So let's see what we get. We got an 8, and an 8 in the 7 column is nothing, so no effect. Okay, and you can see that things don't always go the way you want them to, but that's okay. All right, now the Japanese are up. So they're going to do the same thing. Why not, right? So they're 4. They're also in jungle. So they get a -1, but they're also adjacent. So they're going to be a 5. There is no 5 column. There's just a 4 column. So they're going to roll. And we'll use the red ones. They got a 5, and a 5 is nothing. So you roll low. It's like a kind of, you can see it. It's like an arrow shape, right? You roll low or high is good. In the middle, not so great. All right, so they are also moved, or fired rather. All right, now these, the Americans now I can maybe move these guys. Their movement is a 3. So if they move there, moving into, I guess that's like clear terrain or field maybe. It looks brown. I'm going to say it's clear because I don't think it's beach. So we're going to move there for 1. And then we can maybe move into that village. Let's see. Village 1. Okay. So they're going to move here. I could have moved here, but I'm thinking this gives me the opportunity to go after this guy. That's why I did what I did. All right, so now the Japanese are going, and let's have this guy. 1, 2. He can make that shot. 1, 2, 3. He's going to shoot at the tank, at the LVT. All right, so he's got a 1, just like the other one. 1 armor, so that's a wash. And again, we're just rolling for a number that can hit. So a high number, 10, 11, or 12. And they got a 6, so nothing. All right. I mean, you don't try, you don't succeed, right? All right, Colonel. What are you going to do, Colonel? Well, we're going to move, I think. Or, well, they're in regular jungle right now. So do they have line of sight to this guy? They are in heavy jungle. Through jungle blocks line of sight. We know that. So they don't have line of sight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate this captain, and he's going to move here. Because now we can chain, even if I move this this guy. If he goes here to the fields, that costs 1.5. Oh, he's only got a 2 movement because he is a heavy machine gun platoon, weapons platoon. All right. Okay, back to the Japanese. How do we want to approach this? Well, let's activate our captain here. And he's going to move here. And that, to me, that looks like a clear hex, which would cost 1, which would then let them move here, which costs 2 because that is jungle. And he can also activate this guy, and he's going to move here, which costs 2. And then he can move there because that's actually clear. So that was an example of using your leader to activate 2 hexes. Now back to the Americans. Now we can shoot at these guys, I'm pretty sure. Because we do have line of sight. They are in jungle. And so are we. Actually, it's up the spine. Let me check for this. Okay, so when it's up a spine, according to the rules, you can choose which one you want. Since this one blocks line of sight now and doesn't, it's obvious we're going to shoot up this way. All right, so now we do have a Marine platoon here with a firepower of 8, just like we had before, range of 3. They're going to be shooting in here, which is a jungle hex. It's pretty thin jungle, but technically jungle hex. So up the spine there. So the jungle hex will give them the -1 for direct fire. They will also, of course, not get an adjacency bonus. So they're still going to be in the 7 column. Let's see what happens here. They got a 10. So a 10 in the 7 column is an M, which means that's a morale check. All units without armor values in the target hex check morale. Okay, so it's morale check time. Okay, so the Japanese units have a morale of 8, so do the Americans. This guy, the captain here, gives them a modifier of 1. and he has a morale of 10 rather. So they're going to roll. So 10 are under, the captain will, yeah, the captain will pass, so he's good. One of these is smaller than the other one. I just noticed that. So the other one with a morale of 8 needs a 9 or less because of the mod from the captain. And he got an 8, which still would have been good, but that's pretty close. So that fire did nothing. We have not really had much happening here. Much of anything. Okay, back to the Japanese. They need to kill some Americans, so they got to try something here. What do we got here? Infantry with a lieutenant. He is going to, man. I mean, they could fire at that, but that's not going to do them any good. The range isn't enough for them to attack that stack either. So, what to do here? How about this? We're going to activate them, and they're going to go. Can they do this? Is the question. I think they can. They're going uphill, and I could have literally just put them up there. Up slope adds +1, so that's all they can do there. And then he's going to move here, and that would complete his move as well. And I'm going to just stick a couple of moved markers on these guys. And they are now done as well. So the Japanese have 2 units left, and the Americans have more. 5, 6, something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. All right. So the Americans get to activate now. Limiting terrain for spotting. C notes. All right. Fields. In winter, well, we're in a tropical climate, so that does not mean, that just means it's limiting. So I think if you fire through limiting, let me check the rules again. It's been a while since I played this system. Okay, the colonel's going to activate his 2 platoons here, and they're both going to fire up the spine using the field here. 2 fields. Wait, that won't work, will it? Because it's 2 limiting terrains. I don't think that's going to fly. Honestly, the rule is a little ambiguous. Let me check the Saipan 44 special rules here. Okay, since it notes it as limiting terrain, I'm going to say that you can't do it because you can't do it with like light jungle or anything like that. So I'm just going to say no. All right, that's a bummer. So the Americans are going to pass, I think. I don't know that we need to. Maybe, let's see. The tank here probably has line of sight. Oh, it's also 2 limiting. Okay, so he's going to move. So he'll move here through the fields. That's going to cost him 3. And then here would cost him 6, and he's done. We'll do that instead. Then the Japanese, we're going to move this guy in with this other guy. How about that? And then the Americans will, let's move here. One last move for the Japanese. They're going to move here. And the Americans, let's move here. And the Japanese don't have anybody left to move. We have our lieutenant here. He's in good defensible spot. Let's keep him there with his platoon and end this turn. All right, on to turn 3, 12:30. This is a, what, 18 turn scenario. We won't get through all of that, but we'll keep going here for a bit. All right, so this is turn number 3. I do need to remove all the markers. All right, dice off time. And you know what? I just noticed that we have 2 little ones and 2 big ones. That's interesting. All right, let's roll the little ones, right? Let the little guys get a shot here. 3-1. So again, the Americans get a 1 activation advantage. And they're going to use it to attack some armor right here. So again, we are going to be on the anti-tank fire table, right? So we take our anti-tank value, which is 2. Armor value is 1, so we get a 1. Modifiers. No. No. Ah, I forgot that one. Yep. Okay. That helps. So they get a +1 for adjacency as well. So that's going to be a 2 added to our roll. And I just flung that sucker all the way across the table. So we got a 3 and a 4, which is a 7, adds up to a 9. Not quite enough, but they get a second shot. And they got a 7 plus 2 again, also a 9. So again, nothing. Turnabout being fair play. The Japanese will do it, and they get a +1. So they have 1 anti-tank value plus the adjacency. And what's their terrain? They are in light jungle. That actually does matter. No, just heavy jungle. Heavy jungle. So it does not matter. So they got an 8 plus 1 is a 9. 9's a wild here. 9's a wild. All right. Well, that means the Americans have to take actions into their own hands here. I can now do this because we have an adjacent infantry unit with a leader. They are going to go in here and they're going to assault this tank. Okay, so when you move into it, it can be voluntary, but we are going to assault so you can see it here. So let's grab the assault rules here. So here's our assault chart, okay? Now, here's how it works. The Marines have a firepower of 8. The tank's armor does not matter, right? They're going to go in there maybe with grenades or something. They're going to try and, take this tank out. So our platoon of Marines are attacking this already reduced Type 95. Now their firepower is 8. They get a +1 because of having the captain with them. That makes it a 9. There is a 9 column here, but they also get a 1 column shift. So they're actually in this column, the 13 column. Now the Japanese also, of course, get to fire. Their firepower for soft targets, or HE firepower, is 3. They do not get any kind of modifiers or anything. None of these apply, I believe. The morales are identical. Okay. Yep, we're good. So 13 column for the Americans and the 3 column for the Japanese. So let's see what we get here. Americans got a 5, and a 5 is an M2. That's a morale check with a +2 modifier on the die roll. Now the Japanese get a 7, and a 7 in the 3 column is going to be nothing. All right, so in M2, their morale, because they are reduced, their morale is actually a 7. So they need to roll under a 9 or under to pass this morale check. They got a 6, so they fail. So a failure will disrupt them. So they are disrupted. Let me put that under. So just to be clear, 6 plus 2 is 8, which is higher than 7. That's why they failed, if I didn't explain that correctly the first time. All right, so that was the Americans. Now the Japanese would go. And, well, I think, can they? Well, I don't think they can, but they could fire there. So they're going to do that because they have a range of 5. They're through fields, which is limiting, but they can see over it, basically. So they're going to fire in here, but they're in the jungle. So, and that's heavy jungle, I believe. Is it? No, light jungle. All right, so it's just jungle, but that's still going to matter because they're going to get the -1 direct fire. Actually, the Japanese have an off-board artillery. Maybe we should use that. Okay, so I completely forgot about that until I happened to glance at the scenario, which is up there. I have the book. So they get it every turn. They have to be spotted by a leader. So the Japanese do have a leader that can see somebody. This guy here can see them. He can see them as well. So let's have him hit this one. All right, so they're going to get a 10. They're in jungle, just regular jungle, not heavy jungle. And this is bombardment fire. This way you can see all the different types of fire. We've already had the other 3. This would be the 4th type. Now, the value is a 10, which does not have a column. So I guess we use the 8 column. All right, and you can see that these are all morale checks, right? -1. So that would move them to 9 anyway. So they just get a -1. So they're rolling on the 8 column. So let's see if they can get either a 2, 3, 4 or a 10, 11, 12 would result in a morale check of some kind. They got a 3. A 3 is an M1. Now the morale for our leader there is a 9. Let's do him first. He got a 9, so he pulled it off. All right, and he gives a +1 to the Marines who have a morale of 8 currently. And they got a 6, so they also pass. All right, so no harm, no foul. That does count as the Japanese activation. So let's see, what do we want to do now? Let's activate this guy right here. This is heavy jungle. That's just regular jungle. They're going to fire up the spine again. So it's the same thing. It's an 8. And looking at our direct fire chart, here they are in jungle. So they do get a -1. We don't get anything for adjacency. Yeah. Okay. So it's just an 8. So they're in the 7 column here. All right. 8 - 1 is 7. That's the Japanese dice. 8. That's going to be nothing. 8 is nothing. It is hard to kill sometimes. All right. Now the Japanese can return the favor, and they will. So they're not going to do much. It's a 4 here. But they got a 12. So actually that would be, I believe, the 2 column because they took a -1 for the... do they take a -1? Yes, because they're in jungle. Right. So 2 is a morale 1. So again, we're going to roll. We know the lieutenant has a 9. And I just realized I think he failed last time because he rolled the exact number and we were supposed to add 1. So 6 + 1 is 7. That's okay. And now the other squad needs a 9 or less as well and do get a +1. That's a 5. So 4 + 1 is a 5. They both passed. I missed it. I'm not going to go back and change it. That's kind of my policy. If I screw it up, it's an honest mistake. I'm not trying to make an advantage for anybody. We're just going to play it out. Maybe I move here. Let's make them come to us. How about that? Right? They're the ones that have to capture stuff. Like nobody's inflicted any casualties yet here. So back to the Japanese. They're going to move uphill and join this guy. Yeah, they can do that. So the one on the bottom is used. You can go through regular jungle though. So let's do this. He's going to move here. That costs him 4. And then he's going to move here, and that's clear terrain. So that costs only 1.5. So that's 5.5. He can't move anymore, but he gets a little closer to the enemy here. So next turn, we'll be able to put 2 firing attack from 2 different angles, which will give us a bonus. All right, now he's going to do... Are they adjacent? I don't think they are, actually. I need to see the hex there. Yeah, they are, actually. So they're going to fire, but only with 1. No, that's not going to do them any good because he's a tank. I'm just going to mark them as passed. Yeah, we're going to pass with this guy. Now, again, I'm not inclined to do much over here. Let's move our machine gun in here. And I'm going to mark them as done, just because. And now the Japanese will go. They're going to move down here. So fields, 3 each. Their movement's in 8, so they can go here and there. And I don't have anything that can shoot at them. So they're going to stop right there. These guys are going to move. They're going to move in here. Are they allowed to do that? I don't know. They'll move here. They'll move into the village. Okay. Now, didn't I move these guys in? That might have been last turn. Let's have these guys assault the Marines. No, they can't, but they can fire at them. Keep forgetting about, you need a leader. So they're going to fire. They have firepower of 8. They are adjacent. He's in light jungle, not heavy jungle. So he gets a -1. They are adjacent, so they'll get the +2. So they were +1 with an 8. That becomes a 9. So they're going to fire here with pretty good odds. They are in the 7 column. And they got a 10, which is an M. So now they'll have to take a check. We know their morale is a 7. No, I mean an 8, sorry. They got a 6, so they're good. All right, so again, not a whole lot going on. They'll return the favor. Why not? 8 +2 would be 10, but -1. Yeah, they're just light jungle. -1 becomes a 9, so we're still in the 7 column. All right. 10. So they also have to take a morale check. Their morale is also an 8. We'll do the first unit. He got a 7. Do the second unit. He got an 11, so he fails. So the bottom one is disrupted. Okay. I'm going to move him here. And the Americans will pass, I think. Don't have to do that. Yeah, we'll pass with that one. How about that? Now he's going to move in here. And then this guy will also pass because the jungle will screen him. And that ends the turn. So we're going to go to the 12:45 4th turn. This might be the last turn I do. I don't want to go too long. So let me pause and remove our markers. Okay, dice off time. We'll roll the big ones this time. Tie. Okay, the Americans win again. I think the Americans have not failed to win initiative yet. Let's have the captain activate him, move him in here, and then let's do another round of melee here, or assault if you prefer. So that'll give the Americans 16, and their combat factor gets halved, but it's just going to be a 2 instead of a 3. So yeah, this is going to be fun. So here's our assault chart again. The Americans are now let's see, 16 +1 would be 17, so they would be in the 13 column, but this time they're going to get to the 18 column, which means no matter what, something is going to happen to the Japanese here. 10, that's a big number. 1, that means we have killed that tank. The core comes through once again. All right. Now we'll do the Japanese. They are in column 1, so they need a 2, 3, 11, or 12. They got a 4, pretty close, but not good enough. So that is 2 points for the Americans, thanks to eliminating that Japanese tank. So the casualty points now favor the Americans. Put a moved on here, or fired, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, now the Japanese are up. They're going to fire, right? We got adjacent. He's in jungle. And the fire has a firepower of 1. His armor is a 1, so that's a wash. They are adjacent, so they get a modifier for that. But for anti-tank, it's not the same as it is for direct fire by infantry. So they do get a -1 for jungle, I believe. Maybe not, because it says heavy jungle. So maybe not. Target moved, no. Oh, preceding action segment. They did, right? No, they did. No, the target did not move. Not dug in. Fired on when spotting, no. Adjacent hex. So they get a +1. So they're going to get a +1 to their die roll. And they rolled an 8, which becomes a 9. And guess what? Just like every other time, we got a 9. No dice, literally. All right, so now we're going to do the Americans. They get 2 plus 1 for adjacency. They don't get any terrain benefit from their location, I don't think. So plus 3 to the die roll for the Americans here. If they can roll high enough, they might knock this guy out. It's a 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. How about that? Every single anti-tank attack that I have rolled so far has ended up being a 9. Not a natural 9, but a modified 9. Okay, so that completes the Americans there, and let's move on to the Japanese turn again. Let's have this guy, I think he can, let me think about that for a second. What do I want to do there? Okay, we're going to roll to try to rally this disrupted infantry unit. This will count as its activation. And we need a less than an 8. And they failed. So what a time to roll box cards, right? So they get used, meaning the infantry on top does not get any help. Well, they wouldn't have anyway, but yeah. So that's that. Okay. Let's be bold. No, we can't. I keep wanting to assault, and we can't because we don't have an officer. Let's fire. Fire it up. 8. Minus 1 for terrain is 7. Plus 2 is 9. And our direct fire column is 7 once again. 5. 5 in the 7 column is a morale check. All right, so they both units have to take a morale check. We'll start with the one on top. He rolled an 8, so he's fine. Now we'll do the bottom guy. And he rolled a 7, which is also fine. So that did nada. Well, let's have him fire back, right? So it's only a 4. Minus 1 plus 2, it's a 5. There is no 5 column. They're rolling on the 4. It's a 3, which is a morale check for the Americans. So they need an 8 or less, and they don't get it. So he has now been disrupted. So that is a victory of sorts for the Japanese. Back to the Americans. All right, let's have these guys attack. They're adjacent. They're adjacent. They've got the service unit, service platoon, and an infantry platoon, and a lieutenant in there. They've got a platoon of Marines and the weapons platoon, which has a firepower of 12. So that is 20. They are adjacent to heavy jungle. So that's going to be a bigger modifier. Heavy jungle gives you a minus 2. So 20 minus 2 is 18. They do have a leader with them. I don't know if that matters. Okay. Yep. No, it does not matter. So we are in the 16 column. All right, 16 column. Going to roll the Japanese color. 6. 6 in the 16 column is a morale check. All right. That's good. That would be the leader. He has a rating of 10. 11, even with the leader's 1, making it a 9 as a target, he still fails. So we'll do the service one, I guess. And the weakest unit. And then we'll check the infantry. They got a 2, so they're fine. All right. And these guys are used. And now the Japanese get to, can they rally this guy in the same turn? I guess they can. That would use the lieutenant, I think. Maybe we should just fire and rally him. Now we're going to try to rally him right now. So you get a +1 from the leader here. And he rolled a 9. So he got it. Right? Yes, 8 plus 1 is 9. Okay. All right. So he's now used. And I think the leader is used as well. So now we have this guy here. All right. Now, we're going to move them up. Let's see if we can get an assault in here. Or entice them to assault us. Right? Why not? Let's do it. Boom. They're in. Assault time. All right. Flip this over. Assault chart time. All right. So the Japanese get 4 plus the leader is 5 and a column shift. So that's going to be the 9 column. Pretty good for them. The Americans are 8 plus 1, which would be 9 and a column shift. So they're going to be in the 13 column. So 9 column for the Japanese. Let's do them first instead of the attackers. We got a 6, and a 6 in the 9 column is a morale check. All right, so the Americans will have to take a morale check. Americans are in the 13 column. They got a 4, which is 1 step loss. All right. All right, so the Japanese are going to take a step loss, but let's do the morale first. So the Americans, he's in 9. He's good. They're also a 9 because of the modifier. That first 6 had me nervous. All right, now, this is interesting. So he gets reduced, so we flip him over. But the leader has to now take a casualty check. You roll their dice. You give them a die roll modifier of -1 because they lost a step. That's why we're doing this. And a modified roll of 2 or less means he's been killed. Oh, oh, bye-bye. Wow, that's rough. That is rough. So I think they also have to retreat. And I think I messed that up down here. But they get moved and they get moved. All right. Now, we're going to fire our tank at this guy because we can. So he's already reduced. They are adjacent. He's in jungle, so they'll get a -1. Their firepower is a 6. He gets +2 for adjacent and -1, so he's rolling in the 7 column, if there is a 7 column. And there is. So he's in the 7 column. And he gets a 5, which of course is, it's a morale check. All right, morale check. He's reduced, so his morale's a 7. And he rolled a 7. So he's okay. All right. Now, here's the risky part. These guys can assault him, and they will. All right, so the Japanese have 8, and the tank has 6. Japanese get 1 to make them a 9, and a column shift. So they're in the 11 column. The Americans are actually only going to be in the 4 column. So this could be bad for the Americans. So the Japanese get a 6, and a 6 in the 11 column is nothing. They got lucky. Now the Americans roll in the 4 column, and they got a 9, which is also nothing, barely. So nothing happens there, and I think these guys just go back. I forgot about the retreat thing. So that's that. Okay. Now the Americans go again, and they're going to pass. And what happened here again? Oh, right. We got 1 unit. That's not. We're just going to pass out of the rest of the turn, I think, for everybody. And I think I'm going to wrap it up here because we're approaching an hour. So I would have liked to have seen more action. We lost a leader and a tank on the Japanese side, but nobody else has been hurt. So that's bad. All right. Thank you for watching. Quick shout out to my channel members. Appreciate the support. But we are done for now. If you have any questions, comments, post them in the comment section. While you're here, please consider liking, sharing, hyping, and or subscribing to the channel. Any of that would be outstanding. But again, even if you do none of that stuff, hopefully you'll come back and check out something else here on the Hexed Encounter channel. Until next time, I'm Joe, and I just say, as I always do, happy gaming.